Okay, so not long ago we actually installed this front door. When I did, the door frame that was already here didn't exactly line up. So I used some weather stripping to just finalize it out for the meanwhile, which you can see here. And you can also see it's actually been eating into my door here. So I gotta repaint this door and this part now. But the weather stripping actually is here. And it's been sealing okay, but that's not the way I really want this door. And not to mention in here, this has been split for a while. It's just, I think you can see, make sure you can see where I'm putting that. Yeah. So you can see like this thing really needs to go. It's not even really secure in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace all this today. We're going to put all new wood in here, new door frame, the whole deal. So, and I started to do this and thought about it. I need to video this. I was just going to pull the trim off here so I can get some measurements on the wood real quick. But since I got started on it, I figure I better go put my camera on real quick so y'all can see everything I'm doing. Now, this is just door trim. I'm just going to pull it out here real quick. So, and that opens that up where we can actually see the boards that make up everything. We can actually get proper measurements on what we need. So that'll start that, and we'll get some measurements real quick here and we'll go from there. So remove this storm door. Okay, so here's what I need your help for.
Oh, maybe I should go put my flip-flop on.
That's exactly what I was trying to avoid, babe.
Oh, sorry. Okay, never mind.
No, I can't get it. Damn you, woman. That's exactly why I had you out here so that didn't happen. Exactly. God. Just fired.
Okay. Well, too late now. It's done.
Wowzers. This is my doorbell. Doorbell's no big deal, it's just 2 screws. Somebody's here, babe. Get the door. So they're not, it's just wedged in there. A few little staples in the front and that's about it. Oh, there's a 2-part system. Great. The good part is it makes it look like I can get this out without tearing it up. Okay. That one nail. Okay, so there's our actual door. Which is what I've been after the whole time. So I'm busy pulling all this trim off, which I figured I was going to video. And I got to the top here. Yeah, now we got a video because I'm trying to remove this piece of board, which I've been prying off this frame here, okay? This is the actual door. This is what this bolts into. This is supposed to be secure, okay? Whenever I started pulling on this, you can actually see this, okay? This should be moving. This is supposed to be secure. Notice which thing's moving? The entire door, the front door, at least on this side, is not secure. Anybody wanted to could walk up and kick this front door straight down. So it's just, now I gotta know. Let's see, is it the same over here? Well, let's see which one's moving. The door frame's moving. So yeah, anybody wants to could have walked up and kicked this entire front door open. The only thing holding it up literally is my deadbolts, which go into the door frame. That is genius. Wow. Well, folks, like I said, whoever did the work on this house before, what in the world were they thinking? Okay, it should be loose. Heavy door. Okay. Okay, we're gonna make sure there is no screws holding anything in here too. Guess I should have pulled this out. All right. And that would be a door frame. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna have to do is every one of these is 5 3/4. The entire way around the door. It's 5 3/4. So we got 3 main boards that are the outside boards. I cut those down to 5 3/4. So that's what we're gonna do right here, is to get those down to 5 3/4. So we got it all set up, which we got a nice little rig. I'm gonna do a short board first, just because it's gonna be easier to cut. We're gonna cut all 3 of these down to 5 3/4. Let's check it. It should be. Yeah, that looks real good. Okay, so we're comparing it here, and it actually looks pretty good. I got just enough room to put in the shims and such. Okay, so what I got to do now, I've got the frame basically up. It's not bolted in there or anything, but it looks good. My door is 35 3/4 basically. Yeah, 35 3/4. So I've got to make this 35 3/4, which you can tell it's a little too thick. Okay, so I've got to trim that back, do the measurements on how to cut that back, and then I've got to actually shave that board down. Okay, so that's step 1 of what I got to do, and I got to make sure it's square the whole way. So 35 3/4 the whole way. If it's not, I get some fun counting. Once I get that done now, then what I've got to do is I've got to make another frame inside the frame, because the door has to come in. Okay, so the door is going to come in a good, what was it? My door is 1 3/4. So I've got to cut this back 1 3/4. So I got to cut from there, which means I got to cut this board back. I got to make the entire frame within a frame. This is going to bow back 1 3/4, and I cut that off there so that the door will shut right into here and not go past it. But I've also got to cut this down because with a 2-inch board here, you can't grab the handles. Okay, so here's our actual frame here with the -1 board. So this here, I'll have this my top part here, this here, and then we're gonna get one more board for the bottom. I gotta get one more board basically because I messed up on one stupid piece of board, but nothing too major. But yeah, that's gonna basically be it. We'll get all this put in, trimmed in, cut it right, and then painted. The outside, there's trim that already goes around it, as well as the inside, and I think we'll be pretty much done. So, okay, so I've done my test fitting. I've got everything as well as I can possibly test it anyway. My door basically is going to go inside here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to frame it inside my garage as much as I can, actually put the boards together and all, and then actually just finally screw everything down. But I'm going to try to square everything up in here in the garage as much as I can here. Okay, so this time I'm going to clamp actually down here. That's much better. Okay, so I got my frame mostly made now. I've actually got it all installed up here. You can see how the wood works actually. Here's where the door would sit. Here's the stop. This sits in the frame here. This will be covered. Going to insulate in the middle of here. But you can kind of see how we're working with it. And I'm actually starting to cut the hinge joints right now. So I figured it's a good time to start recording here again. And a lot of people will use a router to do this. I don't own a router, however. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a little more old-fashioned. So what you do is you get you a chisel set for woodworking, and you're just gonna use your hinge to mark up the area. And all you're gonna do really is you want to come from the top first so that you can make sure it looks good. Well, I do need to apologize, y'all. I got a little more into working on this one than I did recording on this one. And so I actually did most of the work where y'all didn't get to see it. If I remember correctly, last I was going to actually start tying these down. As you can tell, I did tie them down. I used a chisel to chisel out the holes for this, that way they're not any wider and everything. Those are nice and secure here, okay? We're doing the top part and all this. I haven't done the side molding yet, but I've kind of started on it. The side trim, I should say. This was part of my step, so I had to do this. This is there's a 2-inch board there, 2-inch board there, and then made a top piece. I forget what the measurement on it was, but basically there's like 3 boards that make up this thing here to make it flush with the door, the floorway here. Now it's not exactly flush because I went to the bottom of the door kinda, but at the same time I have this here, which whenever I put this in, it's going to cover those nails there that you can see. Y'all can see, yeah, hopefully. And what that does is it leaves a little gap you can put your finger in there. This floor here, I've actually got plans on redoing it. So I've got these tiles already picked out that we're going to use. And what happens is that gap there fits perfect. So that gap I'm actually going to go ahead and leave in there. and it should fit just about perfect with that to make that new floor. Put this tile back up. So the inside of the door is pretty much done. I just got to put the extra trim for the house back on. Okay. The outside of the door is pretty much done. You'll see I need to still tie that down, but this will barely hang over in here. Be a little more like this right here. It'll look pretty much like that. That's going to make it flasher for the weather. Here, I went ahead and extended these all the way out. These are usually a 1-inch thing right here. I like them like this, so it helps me with the outside. However, because I do like that, my old wood, use this piece here, my old wood is not going to work. So I'm going to have to cut new wood here too. So that's what I'm working on that. But yeah, all I got to do is cut a couple more boards here, put a top piece, and we should be done. So I'll try to give y'all a point of view at the end plus painting it. Okay, so I figured I'd give y'all a view on the end. This is the door complete, okay? So you can see I've got everything shimmed up in here. I've got to do a little sanding here just to even up some of these uneven spots before I paint. But everything's pretty much built in here pretty well. Just a few little gapping. We're gonna put some silicone in here between these little gaps that you can't really get too well. Like you're right in here, all this type of thing. The trim still needs to go on this side here. And then other than that, it's just painting. So the door frame's pretty much done. I mean, this sucker is solid. So anyway, I'm liking the way it's turned out. We did a step down here too. So, but anyway, I'm gonna silicone this sucker up and we'll get to painting. Okay, for this part, all we're really gonna do, okay, pretty easy on this, self-explanatory, whatever you want to call it. There's a little gun in it, right? Okay. Oh no! Right there, a good example of why you keep a rag close. Jeez. First thing I did. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Okay, so this is just silicone, okay? So all you do is kind of line it up where you want it. And we're just going to kind of swallow it, squeeze it in there. All this is doing is weather sealing. Let me aim that downward more, just so y'all can really see more of what I'm doing. Okay, so, and all I'm doing is weather sealing with this, okay? Now you get your seal in there, take a little water, run your finger. That crap off there. You try not to get it on the wood like I just did, because now I gotta basically wash that wood off, which I'm gonna do before I paint anyways. You watch my other videos, you typically want to paint before you, or you want to wash before you paint. Yeah, all I'm doing is kind of gonna just smear that into that crack there, anywhere I've got a gapping. Nothing special I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get it in the holes. Favorite day of today's project, get to paint. We'll start in the middle here because I can't reach the high points too well without having to get up on this ladder, so we're going to start right here. I'm going to go ahead and paint these metal parts outside too. I've got metal paint for them, but they're going to get painted later. Again, but since I'm here, no big deal. Okay, so my door is now painted, as you can tell. I think it looks pretty. There's I don't know why I'm seeing white spots on here. Oh, that's for the screws. I'll just get a little paintbrush and paint those in. But yeah, so the door's painted. Door frame's painted, the whole deal. Looks all beautiful. I've got the inside trim still to do though. Okay, trim-wise, the way we decided we was going to do this is, my wife likes these little block things, so we decided we were going to do the little blocks. My wood is actually going to come up to about right here, which is going to leave just a little lip on the inside. So I'm going to actually paint this anyways. I'm going to have to come through and paint this first. But what we're going to do is we're going to paint that, have a piece of wood here that comes in like that. And so that leaves a little lip. It'll come square to here. And then all I got to do is measure that out, bring it down. So we'll just cut these, place the wood in here like this, and it'll come pretty much like that. And then, of course, the top piece will come same direction too. I'll have to measure it out. The block will come right in there. And we'll have these little blocks in between. It's kind of a more modern thing that they're doing. I'm more the miter ends. I like that better, but this is more the wife's little want, so we'll make her happy. Okay, so we got all our wood cut for the trim. I wound up using 2 pieces here to make this one trim board. It'll be equal to this other trim board that's a solid piece. We'll just mesh those together pretty much like that. Whenever I paint over them, they'll look pretty even, so it should be fine. Just had to cut, nice straight cut there. This will be my top piece, side piece. This will be the left door. This will be the right of the door. And then I've got these 2 other squares that are right here. That for the squares, we're going to use a different paintbrush, which is going to be that little one. And then we'll use the 2-inch brush for this. We're using Valspar. It's a high gloss, ultra white. Most people use a semi-gloss. We like a high gloss. Just change the difference. I don't know. Looks a little better to me. But so these are going to paint in here just because it'll get in these little nicks and crannies a little better. And then these are straight paint, so we'll just use the ultra high gloss with the normal brush. Gonna paint those real quick. We'll let those dry. We'll put those on the door here in a minute. Okay, so what we're doing here, we've got the nails in for the trim. You can see the little nail holes. This one she already filled in, and all she's doing really is just taking her finger, a little dab, and you can just see it goes right in there. Nothing special to it. We'll let that dry basically, and then we'll just paint right over it. So nothing major there, and we'll just fill in, even here in the corner, all these little holes. So as you can tell, there's not many nails that actually hold that trim either. So okay, so the spots are all filled in now. You can kind of tell where they were. All we gotta do is spot paint over those real quick, and we will pretty much be done. I'm gonna kind of spot paint over this trim right here to make it look like it's all one piece or two, and we should actually be done. So we'll do that real quick here, and that'll be the end of it. Okay, we are officially done. As you can tell, the entire door frame in here, everything looks great and all. The floor, I've actually got a rubber mat on the wood floor, but that's not a big deal. It's just part of something I'm going to add right in here just to keep it from getting damaged, but that's not really part of the build. The entire door frame is done here, and then on the inside, there's our frame. As you can tell, it turned out pretty well. So that is from scratch build, the whole deal. Hope y'all have enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something out of it, and have a good